Project RTR, the RMX 2.0 ready to run that we're taking to the next level. On this week's episode, we throw a Hail Mary pass, change our gear ratio to see if we can keep this RMX stock for just one more week. We also install this killer set of Scale Reflex Lights. We got some comments in a few of the last videos with people searching for some information that we did not provide. So let's go through our build and talk about all of the changes we've made so far. So back in week 1, we installed our stealth mount kit. Then in week 2, we did the tires and our rear Scale Reflex ESC plate. We also moved our servo in the last episode, and we have a 56.8mm measurement from turnbuckle to turnbuckle. In the upper arm, we've removed the stock shims and replaced with two 3mm shims. On the lower arm, we added one 2mm shim and gave the lower arm 8mm of shims total to maximize negative camber. As for our 25mm turnbuckles, we had a measurement of 12.37mm, but keep in mind we used Yokomo ball ends on this setup, and the measurement might vary a little bit from MST ball ends overall size. By adjusting the arms just slightly, we've been able to maximize overall throw on the car and allow this to have a ton of steering angle, much more than we should ever need. We utilized a setup station to verify all of our measurements, and side to side we were at negative 12 degrees of camber in the front end. Those shims were perfect. In the rear, we have not made any changes, so we'll bounce the suspension a couple times and verify that we are at 1 degree of negative camber side to side. Now, using a caliper, we're going to measure inner race to inner race on our shock preload, and we have a total of 7.08mm of preload. We moved the damper mounting location to the innermost hole on the lower arm, but we did retain the stock location in the upper mounting hole. We also retain the stock links and the stock pin shim locations on the toe block. We have 6.18mm of preload in the front. We are in the second inner location for the upper shock tower mount. We've moved the bigger shim to the rear of the lower arm in the front, and the shock is mounted in the center hole of the lower arm on the front. Now let's talk about our Scale Reflex Light Kit. We use their receiver extension to power our lights directly from our receiver plug. Upon installation, you can further clean up these wires, but they were pretty stiff, so I opted to leave mine fairly loose in case I want to remove them at a later time. Couple pieces of aluminum foil HVAC tape, and you can tuck these wires right into place. Notice here I had a wire lifting. Fix that later. I also wasn't paying very close attention when I ordered the light kit, and this light bucket set requires a 3mm and a 5mm LED. This whole set is all 5mm, but it ended up kind of having a Bob Ross happy accident. Notice the corner amber being tucked more into the bucket. Same here with the inner tail light. I think it gave it kind of a more scale dimension to it. And then I had to see the lights peeking through the window at me. If I had a pet peeve with light kits, that would be it. So we'll address removing that extra light at a later date. All in all, I'm really pleased with the way the light kit came out. It looks super nice out on the track. Looking at these photos, I kind of want to splice into our kit and add a license plate light. I think that would be one little aspect that could really set this kit off. If you need a light kit for your car, you can pick one up today at scalesciencerc.com. Just click on the link. Week 4, we got a tuning set of spur gears and switched out and tried some different sizes. While we were able to go as large as a 26 tooth, we opted for a 24 tooth after some testing. From a baseline temperature, we started around 64.5 degrees. Now notice how all over the place the car looks. This is with the 26 tooth. I was definitely not used to all the wheel speed it had. It was gaining on cars when I was used to getting dusted, so there was a bit of a learning curve here on the stock radio, but driving that 26 tooth pinion smoothly was really difficult on the stock radio. The power would ramp up really hard even in the down low RPMs, so it made the car just very glitchy, very touchy. Definitely not as smooth as it was when it was with the lesser 22 tooth pinion. So this was the point when we decided, let's go back down the other way. Let's try a 24. The Subaru that I'm chasing in the lead is one of these brand new 2.5 RS chassis from MST. And the thing rips. I'm a huge fan. It drove really smooth, especially this is right out of the box with a couple setting changes. No boost, no turbo. Steven was really digging how smooth the car was, and he was really nice to chase in that car, just being consistent, even on first night shakedown. Was digging it. So with the 24, notice the proximity is back, and the car is not lurching or lunging forward. And definitely a smoother ramp up on the power on the stock radio. The 24 tooth pinion also gave us that extra second of hang time when we were out in drift and needed just that extra little bit of time to allow the lead car to transition back to the other direction. And it also gave us enough wheel speed to catch back up with minor mistakes made. So overall, I would say the 24 tooth was the maximum that we felt you could drive controllably in the low motor orientation. I'd be curious to see if the high motor would make that wheel speed a little bit more controllable feeling, but that'll be for another episode. Over the course of the night, as settled into the laps, the proximity seemed to tighten. The car felt really nice and controllable. Had all the power that was necessary. However, there's little sections like here where I could have given the throttle a little blip and been able to catch back up a little quicker. That said, the car still is forcing you to drive a smooth line. So you and the lead driver, if you're in the chase position, driving a smooth line makes this car look effortless. But as soon as there's bobbles or any kind of inconsistency in the slider in the line, it's really hard to catch back up or to keep the car looking smooth. And it was tending to shallow up here or fall away from the lead car. So the fact that we were able to carry speed through that zone now is definitely a positive outcome from the switch to the 24 tooth pinion. The RTR definitely looks the most comfortable out on this big line as it has in all 4 of the weeks. And relearning to drive this power band, really liking where it's at. But now I really want to start hunting down some smoothness and refine the overall feel of the chassis, especially after feeling how nice and buttery that 2.5 RS in the Chase was. Oh yeah, back to the science. We never recorded a temperature above 90 degrees, so it's safe to say that a 24 tooth pinion on our surface is perfectly adequate to keep the motor healthy and out of the danger zone. One last time up onto the scales, and our car came in at 3763 front to rear weight bias. So we're pretty happy with that. And moving forward into stage 2, things are only going to heat up. Make sure you tune in next week as we really push the limits of our RTR with a brand new... But if you hate waiting like me, I left a clue in this video as to what we'll do in week 5. If you find it, comment below.
My baby dancing with